Good evening and welcome to Talk the Book show of AP State Council of Higher Education. This is the 166th episode wherein the book that is going to be reviewed is Cine Politics, authored by Professor A. Madhava Prasad. This book, Cine Politics, explores the unique link between cinema and politics, taking up the trajectories of three major stars of South India. The book is going to be presented to us by Dr.Sampath Kumar Allakonda. Dr. Sampath Kumar is an academic consultant and coordinator for the Department of Photography, Dr. YSR Architecture and Fine Arts University, Kadapa. Dr. Sampath Kumar pursued his bachelor's degree in photography and visual communications from JNTU College of Fine Arts, Hyderabad. And during his undergraduate studies, he developed a keen interest in photography and cinema, which led him to pursue a master's degree in communications and MPhil from regional studies of the University of Hyderabad. Later, Dr. Sampath Kumar earned his doctoral degree in film studies from the English and Foreign Languages University, Hyderabad. Besides his interest in photography, his academic pursuits, he is also a writer, and his Telugu short story, Adavilo Vichitralu, won rupees 10,000 prize money and was published in the Telugu weekly Swati in 2021. Now, let us listen to Dr. Sampath Kumar while he is reviewing the book Cine Politics, authored by Professor A. Madhava Prasad. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. And I especially thanks to the AP State Council of Higher Education Chairman and Mr. Madhava sir and Mr. and my guide Nikra ma'am. I thank you all the members who are behind the screens. Because of they gave me this opportunity to give a lecture in this. Thank you. Sir, I'm sharing my PPT or what PDF. Sir, it is visible?
Yes, it is visible, sir. Please continue.
Cine Politics, written by Madhava Prasad. He is a most prominent writer in film studies scholar. Actually, if you want to look into the book, the book was published in 2014 by Oriental Black Swan, and Madhava Prasad also written one more book that is published in 1998. That was Ideology of Hindi Film, Historical Constructions. This was most prominent book in film studies scholars book. So if I want to give a lectures and a review on a book, the Cine Politics, first I want to give a basic idea of what the book is talking about. It actually, the book is talking about the linguistic regional identity of the star, how the stars are emerged in the 1950s in regarding to the Telugu, Tamil, and Kannada regions. So first, if you look into these two maps, how the region was shaped in the post-colonial state. The region was shaped because of, if you look into the state of a colonial period, we don't have an identity of the linguistic identity states. Because of the linguist in Madras, We have Telugu region, we have Tamil region, we have Kannada region, and we also have the Malayalam regions. So in Madras presidency, they have divided between number of regions. So if you look into these two maps, we can understand how the region identity was there before the colonial period and post-colonial period also. So one more thing, if you look into the things, this is in regarding to the South Indian context. The South Indian context, the Hyderabad state and the Mysore state and Travancore and Andhra and Tamil Nadu. So all these states are divided in different linguistic regions. They don't have any political region as a language identity. If you look into the 1953 and 1956, the linguistic region became the cultural identity. Why the cultural identity? It was looking into the before that people did not identify with their languages, especially in a political sphere. The linguistic reorganization of the states got in 1956. This is the basic for the formation of a linguistic identity into a political region, a political state in 1956. So this is a basic thing I want to tell you before the start the book, because if you understand this concept, the book is much easier to me to give a feedback or a review on it. So this is a basic thing. So before that, the states are divided in different regions. Later, the states are formed on the basis of language. So if you look into the South India, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Kerala and Karnataka. So this book is mainly talking about in regard into the Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, three linguistic regionals identities with using of their stars, their film stars, how they become a big film stars, the icons, how they made the icons. So if you look into the Cine politics, the author actually, if you look into the Madhava Prasad, the Madhava Prasad is giving this identity with using of a language is a basis for national identity. Why language is a national for identity? In some of the European context or in any other context in some of the South American and South Africa's and European context, language is a basic for the national identity. Because of the French have their own nation, German have their own nation, or English have their own nation, Italian have their own nation. So they have their language identities. The language identity made them as a nation. But if come back to the Indian context, in Indian scenario, the language identity, the linguistic identity is not a national identity in the post-colonial period, because of the linguistic identity in Indian subcontinent, we give that identity as a regional identity. The Telugu has the Telugu regional identity, or Tamil regional identity, and the Kannada regional identity. But how in the context of India, in the context of the India, if you look into the India as a broader figure, we all other languages considered as the regional identities. This is a basic concept that the book is delivering in entire. If you look into the cases of the thing, why this regional identity is making, because of the regional identity in the post-colonial period, every language people, every region people wanted to make their own icons. Why the icons? This person is a Telugu person, this person is a Kannada person, this person is a Malayalam person, this person is a Tamil person. Why they want to make identity? Because of they want to identify themselves with using of their new political idea. New political idea means the new politically emerged states, the regional states, the region states. So this is a basic concept that was made in the 1950s. If you look into these trajectories, I will look into the later, because of when come back to the political identities or the regional identities, the linguistic identity of the people. MGR is identified with the Tamil, or NTR identified with the Telugu, or Rajkumar identified with Kannada, respectively. Because one more thing has happened before in the 1950 50s and 50s till 56 also. The South Indian films, South Indian films used to make in Madras, especially Tamil, Telugu, and Kannada. The film industry is also situated in Madras. They don't have any barriers. This is a Telugu film, or this is a Kannada film, or this is a Tamil film. They all combined in a one place and situated in Madras, because of the Madras is a basis for all these political regions. Means all these linguistic regions and linguistic regional identities. The cinema was situated there. But if you look into the trajectories, why? I'll come back to the this thing, because of in the post 1950s, the 1950s identity is Telugu want to shift their Telugu film industry to their Telugu capital. Tamil wanted to shift their Kannada want to shift their capital to the cinema to their capital city. So these are the basic identities that was emerged after the political regions. Means like the political regions base is a language. So the language. So if you look into the book, this is a basic constructions that the author used to argue in all his entire book. And one more thing is the book has 6 chapters. First chapter is one kind of introduction, cine politics, and the significance of the South Indian cinema. And second chapter is MGR and the roots of the cine politics. And third chapter is NTR, the accidental politicians. Fourth one is Kumar, the uncrowned king. And fifth one is cine politics events. And seventh is fan bhakti. These are the basic things, and one more appendix is on Jayalalitha. This is the basic structure of the book and the content of the book, divided in 6 chapters and one appendix. I'll go through one by one. If you look into the cine politics on the political significance of the cinema in South India, actually the political implication of the cinema in South India has a played a political landscape, because of if I want to identify the national identity, we don't have any national identity in regard to the language. But the political landscape came in the after the independence of India. This is the basic criteria. And one more thing is, if you look into the stars, these stars played a dynamic role in the formation of the cultural identities, cultural icons. And if you look into the stardom and the celebrity contact, this is a basic phenomena. On the basis of their stardom and there is celebrity, they become the politicians, and they become rulers of the state. But especially, they are the cultural icons of the cinema or any medium. So this is a basic construction. So if you look into the one by one, and if you look into the historical heroes, because of the author argues in these chapters, historical heroes. Who are the historical heroes? These actors, MGR, NTR, and Rajkumar, considered as their historical heroes. Their historical means Telugu historical hero is NTR, Tamil historical hero is MGR, or Kannada hero is Rajkumar. So this is a basic identity they formed in the post-linguistic reorganization criteria. If we look into the other actors, what kind of things they identified? These people identified with using of the formation of the state. Because of before that, these all people also worked in Madras, but then they did not identify as a Telugu or Kannada or Tamil. But post formation, the people are starting identifying these actors as a Telugu actor, Tamil actor, or Kannada actor, and so that is a basic phenomena. So in the influence of the post-linguistic reorganizations, these stars are emerged. These stars become an icon of their region, icon of their cultural identity. So the cinepolitics, the next step is MGR. How the MGR emerged as a politician, what kind of roles he played in the movies. That is a basic phenomenon if you want to understand the MGR, how he became a great politician of the Tamil. So because of MGR rise to a political prominence related to his film's career and the DMK use of cinema as a propaganda. Because most of the people, they did not understand what is meant. They used to make films in regarding to the political propaganda. So in instrument of the DMK political propaganda, MGR used to act in movies. That is a basic thing. And if we look into the other characteristics, the MGR films, he played evolved as a big actors in Tamil cinema because of the actors also played or the directors or some of the writers also played prominent roles. He became a big actors. Most of the people, they did not look into that characters, but in cinemas, the hero character is played as a prominent role and a central character. That's why the most of the credits goes to the heroes than the directors or the writers. So if you look into the other historical questions, what kind of the concept of cine politics developed in Tamil Nadu with using of NTR, and what kind of films he made, and the historical roots of the DMK party in the connection with the non-Brahminical movement. So what kind of movement they take place in these periods? That is a basic concept. So if you look into the films like Namanadu and other films, this showcase the political films as a critique of the society. So that is a basic phenomenon that was made, hero made as a role model. So the party also, if you look into the other trajectories, DMK party split highlighted a gap between the masses and dominant the interest, because of, if you look into the before the politics of the DK to the DMKs and the DMK and to the AIDMK, that also have discussed some of the points in the book. But if you look into the career of the MGR, the film career of the MGR, the political affiliation to the MGR. Before that, they have the political affiliation with using of a DK and later DMK, and finally they formed his own party, AIDMK, later in period. If you look into the and one more political party is the Justice Party that used to have the challenge the Brahmin dominance in the politics. So these are some of the trajectories if I want to look into it in these movies. So he made with using of a political propaganda, with using of a DK and DMK, and later he played his own role in DMK. So political communication. If you look into the MGR movies, what kind of a political, how the political communication used to take place, because of the in newly formed linguistic reorganization, these people are made as icons of their language, the icons of their language, and the cinema is also not merely a transparent medium. But if you look into the message, but involved in the deeply, that influence a lot of people, and because of most of the mass people can also understand the cinema language, because of the print media or other media cannot be able to read so that is a basic format. But in the popular media, film was played a prominent role. If you look into the roles of the propaganda tools as a star charisma, because of MGR used as a propaganda. So why he is used as a propaganda? Because of he also played with using of political parties, and the film roles also used to play according to their political gain. Because of if you play any political role, so in politically they can also gain in regarding the votes. That is a basic charisma these political leaders have in the 50s and 60s. So that is a tool of the propaganda and the charisma for the leaders. So if you look into the other factors, because of these, they have their identities in before the 1950s itself. But these stars emerged as the big stars, and they become a political leaders and in the later. So this is a because if you look into the interesting things, why the political leaders they formed a party and became a chief minister of the states because of these actors emerged as the star because of how the actors emerged as the stars and the film stars became a politicians representing of their people. So that is a basic concern. Most of these film stars use it to take place and while they also make some of the movies. So MGR and the DMK politics in because of his, if you look into the basic, his career started in the 1936. But if you look into the 1947 to the 1976 period, he used it to role a protagonist, use it to as a one kind of a savior to the people. Because of if you look into them, how these people used to take place, these actors, they are the downtrodden, they are the suffering people, they are used to help the others. So that kind of a common role these actors used to play in movies. If because of if you look into these 1940s to the 50s, but his second phase, this was more prominent in last two decades, 1957 to the 1977. So if you look into the criticism of the things, because of these people at the time they did not, most probably at the time nobody thought about identifying these people in the 1950s as more prominent people. They have their own significance. But if you come back to the 1950s and 1956 to the 2013, there have a nearly 50 to 60 years period was passed. Because if you look into this 60 years period, how you look into the 1950s, we are went back to the right our histories. Because of you look into the, some of the Telugu histories, they are started their Telugu writing of their Telugu histories from the 50s and onwards. So like that, the film historians also started digging up their identity of the stars and their stardoms from the beginning of the 1950s. The Madhava Prasad also did the same. But if you look into the phenomena, this phenomena was identified in the post-colonial or postmodern ideology to a pre-colonial thought. That is a basic concept I want to tell you. So if you look into some of the characters and what kind of figures, what kind of things he used to play, he used to play as a larger than the life characters. Because of them, they represent as symbolic and strengthen people and larger than their life images. Because of if you look into some of the films also in the 1950s till the 1970s, they used to have the cutouts of the 20 or 40, 13 or 40 feet cutouts. So that is a basic identity. And if you want to look into the larger than life, that is a basic thing. And if you come back to the political, these people also identified as a role models for their cultural identity of Tamil or other regions. And MGR, if you look into the person of the or his influence in cinema, it also played most prominent role in the landscape of the Tamil cultural identity. So the other chapter is discussing about the NTR, the accidental politicians. NTR career evolution. If you look into the NTR career, was started in 1947 with using of Mahbub. So the transition period for his roles, what kind of roles he used to play. He used to play a folklore hero. A folklore hero became a social and social to a mythological films. Because of if you look into the other two actors, MGR and Rajkumar, the most of the mythological films acted by the NTR. So this is and he's also played most prominent roles like gods, like Rama and Krishna roles. That is a basic significance if you want to understand the role of the NTR with the beginning of identity. If you look into the media influence and cinema, because if you look into the early period, what I told you just now, because of he played with using of a Krishna role. Krishna means the god of the Krishna. His most prominent role. This was this prominent role, and this photo was used cut out for the political campaign. So this, so how the Rama and how the Krishna photos used their political cutouts in at the time of politics. So this is also played a most significant role with using of their media influence, and they use it to cover with gods and other image characters. If you look into the NTR's lands, he shaped the landscape of the Telugu regions because of basically the Telugu hero means to be identified with using of the Telugu prominent historical persons. If you look into the Telugu identity in the emergence of the 1930 when the Bapat to the 1956, nearly 30 to 40 years period was taken place for the formation of Andhra state. So before that, people are identified as the historical person, historical prominent persons. But if you understand the political region, our cinema heroes become a more prominent. That was taken place the 50s onwards. 15 onwards means the linguistic reorganization, the state formation of the Andhra Pradesh, the formation of the Tamil Nadu, the formation of Kannada, that played a significant role to these actors. So the political motivation, what kind of political motivation was there because of the most of the problems at the time of the political parties that was taken as a political thing, and the cultural shift. If you look into the cultural shift of the reflection, before that actually the NTR used to act in different social movies and mythological movies. And another in the 1970s, he also acted number of social movies then. But the people are identified him as a role model, as a Krishna, as a Rama. So that cultural shift, most of the cultural shift people, these people are not identifying, mass people are not identifying NTR as a young hero with a 20 or 30 years hero in the 1970s movies. So that is a cultural shift taken place in most of the films. So these people, they shifted their political ideology also because of them. They become icons of the regions. So the state, if you look into the state emblems, because of these people are identified with the Telugu people, Telugu person, NTR as a Telugu, MGR as a Tamil, or Rajkumar as a Kannada person. If you look into the aspect of the some of the things, because of the cultural importance of the heroes and aspirations of the divine attributions, because of how the Telugu cinema is attributed towards the hero, because of the Hindu characters, the Hindu Rama characters, the Hindu Krishna characters. Those characters also played most prominent role in delivering of his political career. This is a basic phenomenon. If we look into some of the other films, Mahomi in some of the films dialogues, that some of the film characters also used to play. If you look into the songs, the songs also used to represent the regional identity. The songs also used to give the Telugu cultural identities. So what I before told you, most of the times these cultural icons, the writers, the directors did not create it, but the credit is went to the actors. That is a basic thing taken place. If you look into the shifting of the Telugu cinema industry to other places, the basic identity is in place, the capital city. And one more thing is actually, if you look into the Telugu as the national identity, linguistic national identity, how the linguistic national identity was used on NTR because of his party name was Telugu Desham. The Telugu Desham word, it means Telugu country. So Telugu country, why we use it to talk about the Telugu country? The Telugu country means the linguistic national identity. It's talking about the using of the identity as a linguistic identity, as a nation identity. So that is a basic phenomena because of his party's name is Telugu Desham. We look into the other preferences for the other things because of his being as an actor, and he successfully manipulated his roles and images because of, if you look into the, he's as a politician, as an actor. When he used to act in movies, that acting career, that acting images used or manipulated his images to a political gain. So that was taken place, and if you look into the thing of the India. If you look into the political is highlighted because of the emphasizing of the image, what kind of images they used in played. The NTR's images as a leader and then reconstructing of the social around the leadership figure in films. Because of, if you want to look into the, some of the films, he used to act as a king, as a prince. So that king and prince have one kind of imagination of the leadership qualities. So these leadership qualities used to represent in the movies. So in the beginning, the actors also did not thought about any future political gain in the coming future. But if we look into the later period when they become have a taste of the politics from the 50s, they also used to play with using of a different figures. So that is a basic phenomenon that was changed in all the political actors' career. Because of, if you look into the roles of things, India's mythological roles contributed as a big genre, and is a persona as a god person. So that was more prominent if you look into the NTR's career. India's as an actor. We look into the linguistic reorganization of the states and the consolidation of regional identity, particularly in Andhra Pradesh. If you look into what is the consolidation of the regional identity, because of these people are identified as the regional icons. But if you look into the regional elite, because of why we talk about the elite, because of by the 1950s and 60s, by the 70, 80, it became an elite of the. I'm not talking of the elite in the concept of the caste. I'm talking of the elite in the concept of the wealth and the popularity. So that is a elite. I want to give him to you because of, if you look into the caste politics, that is a different phenomena. That is also have the most prominent place played in NTR politics as a Kamma leader. So, but if you look into the other than the Kamma, the power of the media, the power of the medium of the cinema, the power of the medium of the cinema played more crucial role than anything else. That is a basic phenomenon if you want to understand in regarding to the NTR. And one more thing is, if you recognition of the narratives and recombination of the elements and recentering of the plots and around the speculations of hero figures because of the narration and because of reorganization, reconfiguration, recombination. Because of, if you want to look into the 1970s films of the NTR, the 1970s of the films of the NTR used to talk about the more political propaganda than anything. Because of by the 1970s, he also witnessed the taste of the Tamil actors because of the Tamil actors. MGR became a chief minister of the state in 1977. So he also had the thought of becoming a cultural icon of the Telugu. So if you look into the 1970s onwards, the NTR roles and the NTR's structures of the movies are plots are recentered around in the speculation of the hero and hero figure in regard to the political ideology or political identities. So this is a basic phenomenon taken place in regarding the NTR. If you look into the Rajkumar, the underground king, because of the Rajkumar was identified with using of the Kannadiga identity in films. Because of the Kannada identity, if you look into the MGR and NTR, the Rajkumar also had the cultural icon of the Kannada cinema. But if you look into the other some of the trajectories, if you look into the beginning of the their careers of the MGR, NTR, and Rajkumar, they have nearly 10 years gap because of if you look into the MGR careers was started in 1930s and means late 1930s, but NTR career was started in late 1947 and Rajkumar career was started in the 50s. So these are the basic trajectories if you want to look into the identifying of the three actors. So these three actors also played a number of roles. So Rajkumar was influenced as the cultural identity of the political identity of the Kannadiga because of he was identified in beginning of the movies as a hero, but in the comedian roles because of the comedian also used to play as a role of a fan role in movies. So that was started with using of some of the things in rolling of the Rajkumar case because of the it used to call as a sidekicker. The sidekicker is also a fan of that hero. So that was most prominently played in the context of Rajkumar. So, and one more thing is also played the dimension of the hero's relationship because of the hero's relationship with the masses, hero's relationship with using of the fan clubs because of the fan clubs also played a most prominent role in identifying of these people as a big actors. So Rajkumar also has the big fan club in Kannada sphere. So if you look into the significance of the linguistic representation, the intersection of the cinema and the politics, the role of the fan adulation is creating a symbolic monarch because of these people was identified as the king, as a prince. So the king and prince was in the time of the kingdoms or empires. But if come back to the post-colonial, the independent state don't have this kinship or this monarchy system. But if you look into these actors' films, these people used to play in king's role, especially if you look into the Rajkumar's movies, he used to play number of films as Sri Krishna Devaraya. Because of the Sri Krishna Devaraya was identified as an king of South India. So he used to play those kinds of roles in film. So the people are also identifying the hero with using of their historical characters. So that is also played more prominent to identifying of the cultural icons of their regions. Philip into the Kannada films in the 1950s, because of Philip into the other film, because of the by the 1950s, the Kannada film was significantly developed in the 50s, but it was lagged compared to the two other regions, like in Telugu region and Tamil cinema, Telugu cinema. So, but he used to play with significant roles like other roles in the beginning as in folklore elements. Folklore elements, they used to have the different kinds of skills. What kind of skills? They used to have their skills like sword fighting and wrestling and gain popularity in different abilities. Because of these kinds of abilities also gaining one kind of a heroic to them, because of a sword fighting means that people is identifying him as a king, or wrestling is a most popular or most of the powerful person. So these kinds of characters also played a significant role to become a more prominent figures because of what kind of roles they played in movies. So if, because of another thing is in literal in intelligence and admiration of the actors, particularly in Rajkumar's case, the representation of the Kannada cultural identity, because of he is a representative, because of the cultural, the linguistic intelligence, people started representing Rajkumar as a representative of the cultural icon of the Kannada identity. So that also taken place in, and according to the most of the these actors of three regions, and with the using of the Rajkumar as a savior of the Kannada and literary intelligence, because of who is the savior. The savior is Rajkumar, who called this kind of person the literally intelligence, the literally people, whoever write about the Kannada. So the Kannada people started writing him as a savior of the Kannada. So that is the icon was taken place in regarding to the Rajkumar's case. If you look into the other phenomenon, uh, the representation of the authentic Kannadiga subject in cinema, because of most of the when look into the post 1950s films, they also starting representing of the cultural regions, because of in the 1930s and 40s some of the films used to make in studios or Tamil Nadu region. But by the 1950s onwards, all most of the films started coming to the Telugu region text, because of they also want to show their background as a Telugu background. So that is the most prominent place taken place in regarding to the all cultural thing, because of the subject of the cinema, the background of the cinema. So everything is the representation of their identity, their linguistic identity. And the star person that is also played more prominent role. Philippine is in some of the things. The theoretical convention to a different logical in cinema, because of if you look into the things of these actors, these three actors came with in the beginning started their career as the theater artist, theater artist, and the figure because of they have the experience of, as actors in theater before they are starting as a cinema hero. So that is also played more prominent role in the legacy of their thing, and they also gain more importance and symbolic figures in the dramas. That is also played most a prominent role in regarding to the case of these actors. If you look into the how the stars emerged as in political dominance, because of the stars in the 50s or 60s, they become after a hard work of nearly 20 to 30 years of their hard work, these people are identified as the cultural icons, more dominant people in their respective regions. But we come back to the thing, because of at the time, because of they started in this their career much earlier than their political career, and their icon and in the beginning most of the people also did not identify some of the these cinema actors as their icons. But the post in the 1950s, because of we have the political people regions like a kings and kingdoms or early historical persons, but we did not identify the cultural icon of the cinema. So that was started in the 50s. If you look into some of the things, the narrative elements of the films and other things also changed, because of the hero used to more lovely towards their sisters, or lovely towards their parents, or lovely towards their sub common people. So that was also played them as accepting heroes, and their stardom also played with using of fan clubs. So these are some of the things led to these people become a more prominent politician. If you look into the other two, in MGR and NTR, they also succeeded in political career. But in Rajkumar's case, he did not succeeded as a chief minister of Tamil Nadu. So that's why the author gave the uncrowned king. So the Rajkumar, the uncrowned king. So intention is means he is not a, we also have the cultural icon, but he's not a politician. He's not a chief minister of the Karnataka. So that is a nothing I want to tell you because of the beginning of the two MGR and NTR case. Those two people are the cultural icons and become a chief minister of their respective states. But in Rajkumar's case, he's a cultural icon, but he is not a crowned uh, king or a crowned chief minister. So if you look into the other chapter, the cine politics, the relevance of the structure and the causes. Actually, this chapter deals with using of the 50s, 60s, what kind of things changed in film India, especially in Indian context and in particularly South Indian context. The shift of the star roles because of the in beginning of the Star Wars, most of the in Hindi films, some of the films, the female people used to play prominent roles in the cinemas in the early period. But this was much changed in the 50s because of the coming of these MGR, NTR, and the Rajkumar in their respective film institutions, film industries, or cultural icons of their respective regions. So that shift was taken place in the shift of the 1950s, 60s. That is also linked with using of the linguistic reorganization of the states, linguistic reorganization of the South India, especially the Tamil, Telugu, and Kannada context. And cine politics, if you look into the concept of the cine politics, where the cinema became a platform with the political exercise and engagement. Because of the, if you look into the cine politics, the hyphen means the cine and the hyphen and politics. The cine and hyphen and politics is an interlinked word. We cannot separate one word with another. Means cinema is also related to the politics, and the politics also related to the cinema. So that is an interlinked word. That's why this author gave put a name the cinema and hyphen under politics. So where the cinema became a platform of the political exercise. In particular, if you look into the South Indian states, this was transformed in the influence of the region, the influence of the post reorganization of the linguistic regions. And one more thing is the political narrative of the films, because of the political narrative. What kind of films? The films form this kind of era with the importance of the political themes and moral explicitity, because of the political narrative in the films. Because of this also played most of the prominent role. The political narration, the political thing in their films. So regional identity. The fourth phenomenon, if you look into the documentation of documentary highlighting with you using of means this text is a book is highlighting how the cinema played a role in shaping of the regional identities, and the film often address the regional pride and historical narratives. Because of if you look into the historical narratives of some of the films, the people use it to, in the case of Rajkumar, the Sri Krishna Devaraya played by Rajkumar. Sri Krishna Devaraya also played NTR also in Telugu cinemas. So the people are also identifying with using of their historical narratives and historical characters, reinforming the cultural and the linguistic identity. Because of with using of these kinds of things, they reinforming their cultural identities and the linguistic identities. Because of the linguistic identities coming with using the cultural identities coming with the linguistic language. So if you look into the Kannada films and emphasizing on the Kannada pride and Kannada history, if you look into the Tamil, they also have the pride in Tamil history and Tamil culture. And the Telugu film also have the pride in Telugu culture and issues. So these kinds of trajectories are played with the different things. If you look into this fifth chapter, the impact of the cinema on politics, but because of uh, the film stars played as a heroic and character so on the scale, because of they are the heroes, they are the saviors. So this phenomenon was most probably strengthened with using of MGR, NTR case in regarding to the politics. The cultural representation. If you look into the other phenomena, the cultural representation, how these films serve as a medium for the cultural representation, reflecting societal values and struggles and aspirations. Because of the, if you look into the MGR used it to look into their own society's values and struggles and aspirations. NTR used it to have their own struggles in the formation of the linguistic reorganizations. In the 1950s or 51 movie, before the formation of Andhra state, so one movie song is also there, because Cheyati Dekote Telugoda, that movie song was also representing with using of the cultural identity of the Telugus. If you look into the other narratives, provided commonly on the evolving of the social landscape. So all these trajectories, all these things played a cultural landscape, a cultural landscape of the actors, a cultural landscape of the heroes. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Sampath Kumar garu, for bringing out the relation that is existing post-colonial, colonial, historical perspectives of the cinema and then the politics. And very clearly, you have brought out the role of the three superheroes of the South India, Sri N.T. Ramarao garu, Rajkumar garu, and the other star actor of Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, and also Tamil Nadu. Now, this is a very informative type of review, which gives a glimpse of the relation between cinema and politics. So, thank you very much. And thank you all viewers for being with us on this Talk the Book show. Maybe next Friday, we will once again, we'll meet with a book review on a Telugu book review. Thank you very much. Thank you, sir.